Bonjour, salut, bienvenue à Paris.
Buongiorno.
Quoi?
Tortilla.
Now dig on this.
Well.
Hey!
Oh. Hey, everyone.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing?
Welcome to another episode of Classic Movie Banter.
We're
You know
here.
that podcast where me, that guy Brenton, and that other guy over the opposite end of the table, Nathan,
Bonjour.
we talk about films that are 20 years or older, 20 years, and we tell you whether they're worth still watching today or whether they're worth packing them in a crate and shipping them straight to Paris.
Zut alors, c'est Paris. Brenton, we're in France this week. How exciting. We're literally in France. Could you imagine how great it would be if we actually went to France for this episode? Like, I'd be all for it, Brenton.
It'd be beautiful. Walks along the Seine, you know what I mean? Just like having a great old time.
Beautiful, mate. Can you do a good French accent? Could you pass off as the French?
No, I'm atrocious. I'm absolutely atrocious at a French accent. I can't do it at all. It's like...
All right, if we're going to achieve anything this episode, it's going to be you doing a French accent.
Oui?
Oh, was that a Mr. Bean's holiday reference?
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of like the best films I've seen set in Paris, and Mr. Bean's holiday definitely is a contender. Is he in Paris though, or does he just go to France? I don't think he actually goes to Paris.
He goes... he might for a bit. I can't quite remember. He goes to France and he goes to Cannes and meets Willem Dafoe.
Oh god. Oh, Willem Dafoe's in that movie. Oh, that's right.
He is. He gives a fantastic performance.
That's when he does that
It's
film
fucking
where it's
amazing.
like him like doing everything. Like he gets all the production credits and it's just him going up an escalator.
And Bean goes up to like the projection room and he starts like cutting his holiday cam shots in with the film and the narration and everyone loves it for some reason. Everyone it wakes up everyone in the theater, but like
they all fucking applaud, even though he's like known for kidnapping a child.
And Willem is just like my art, you know, my life's work. It's all ruined.
It's great as well because you can see people in the Cannes Film Festival like sleeping around Willem, like in the audience, because they're really bored with the movie.
And he's so into it. It's hilarious. It's great.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love when you first meet Willem in that movie as well, when he's like the director in like the World War like scene or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And, and he's like cutting like fires, Mr. Bean. Like, he's great in it. He's so good.
We love a good Willem Dafoe performance, and that's one of his best.
It is one of his best. I shouldn't say that. No, it's one of his best, Brenton, clearly. Like,
But speaking about films in Paris that are 20 years or older...
We're not talking about Midnight in Paris. We're not talking about Mission Impossible Fallout.
No, we're talking about a musical.
Yeah, we're doing another musical because everyone knows we just love musicals in this podcast, apparently.
Specifically, An American in Paris, which was released in 1951.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Vincent Minnelli,
G'day.
who is the father of Liza Minnelli.
There you go.
So he was with Judy Garland for a bit, and they had Liza, and yeah, that's how that story went.
I did find a fact about that with the movie, how like the director didn't rock up for scenes because he was too busy divorcing Judy Garland.
Exactly, yeah. And so Gene Kelly, who also stars in this film, took over for a few scenes and for a few segments.
Could you imagine that happening today? Just like, where's the director? Oh, he's too busy with the divorce.
Well, what's interesting is that this film then went on to be nominated for Best Director. Which
Vincent
got nominated
which is bullshit, isn't it? Jesus. Oh.
And it won Best Picture. But hey, we will tell you whether this film is, you know, whether it's still worthy of that Best Picture.
The Best Picture award.
Whether it's still worthy of that Best Picture Oscar or whether it's worth, you know, just fucking like getting like you know, one of those Zippo lighters and just like burning, you know, its name from the Oscar annals of history.
Brenton, we already did the intro. we got to segue into some pictures.
Well, speaking of segues, Nathan, can you get off that one and please pitch me
but
this
Brenton,
movie?
I just got it. We're in Paris. I want to do a segue tour, damn it.
Nathan, we can do that after the episode.
Yay!
Okay? Please pitch me this movie.
I'm holding you to that promise. Listeners, remind Brenton. Tweet at him. Say, where's my segue tour, bitch? Can you pitch me the movie? All right, Brenton. All right, I'm going to pitch you this movie, An American in Paris. All right, Brenton, are you familiar with the city of Paris?
No, I haven't. I've never been there in my life.
Fuck.
So.
Damn it, you've shot me in the knee at the first go. All right. Well, Paris. Imagine it. When is this set? I want to say it's the 1920s, but it could be the 1940s. Do you know the answer?
I think it's late 40s.
It's after the
late
war.
Late 40s, early 50s. I think it's after the
Okay.
Second World War.
But it feels like the 20s, and we'll get into that. Okay, but we're in Paris, and it's heyday of sorts. And Gene Kelly, Brenton, he's a painter. He's a painter, and not only that, he's an American painter.
Thanks for clearing that up.
He's a painter who's American. And he's in Paris to be, the next Picasso, the next Van Gogh, as it were. But when you see the quality of his artwork in this movie, Brenton, you may realize that could be a pipe dream. And yet, Brenton, he gains the attention of this rich chick who's like, hey, I like your painting, but I like you even more. And they go on some magical adventures around Paris. And
Are you serious? Is this a fantasy film? Like magic is featured in this film?
oh, Christ, I wish this was a fantasy film. No, it's not. You're just seeing the life of a bloke in Paris just fucking about, just painting and dancing and, and enjoying life. Because maybe there is no plot. We'll get to it.
Wait, did you say dancing?
Oh, Brenton, this is a musical. So we're going to have ballet, we're going to have tapping the shoes, all that kind of shit. Like, there's going to be a lot of dance numbers and some songs sprinkled through this about being in Paris as a painter.
You haven't really outlined a plot.
No, nor does the movie, but that's okay, because we're here, okay, Brenton, we're here to dance, and we're here to sing. We're not here to plot. What is this, Parasite? We don't need any plot. We need dancing, Brenton. We need tunes, and that's what an American in Paris is. It's all tunes.
Are they catchy tunes?
We'll get into it.
Okay, well, let's get into it then, Nathan. Thank you for your pitch. So basically, what I surmised from that is that there's some rich chick that befriends a painter who's American.
Yes.
And they go on some fantasy and adventures that don't involve any magic, but they do involve music and dancing.
They do.
And they're exploring the city of Paris.
Look, Paris, look, I'm going to be straight with you. Maybe a third of this movie is them daydreaming. Or various characters daydreaming in Paris.
Okay,
like
cool.
An absurd amount of the film, Brenton, I think, will be daydreaming.
Cool, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I daydream all the time. In fact, I just woke up.
Oh, Nathan. No. Brenton, you've been asleep for 10 years.
Whoa. Oh, gosh, what happened to my body?
Brenton, what do you think of An American in Paris?
So, I'm quite familiar with musicals from the 50s.
Have you seen this one?
But I've never seen this one. I've always wanted to watch this one because it's very revered. And fun fact, it's Gene Kelly's favorite musical that he did.
Yeah, even though the man did Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Gene Kelly. If you guys don't know,
yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
You've got his face on your shirt right now.
He is the man. He is the man among men, and I kind of love him. Nathan.
You sound like you're saying this to the dog that you love before you put them down. It's like, oh, I love you so much, buddy, but you just gotta go.
Well, Nathan, you couldn't be more wrong with that statement because I really like this movie.
Oh,
I love this movie.
God
it's
damn
great.
it, Brenton.
It's really good. You know what?
Hell.
This movie is grand and it is great. I love this movie. Let's talk about technical aspects that stand out. The thing that stands out from this film is, by far, this has got some of the most amazing production design, I've got to say.
It really does. Yeah.
Incredible.
Even though it wasn't filmed in Paris, it still passes off like it, you know?
Well, yeah, because fun fact again, like Gene Kelly wanted to film this in Paris and they're like, dude, that's a lot of money. You know, like
dude, fuck off. We're spending $1 million on the final thing.
MGM was all like, mate, we've got this whole sound studio, like you go in there and we're going to build some sets and they're going to look good. And
the director passes Gene Kelly like a croissant and he's like, look, Paris. We can remake Paris.
You know, I do really like this movie. I think the production design stands out to me. I think the choreography and the dance numbers are obviously, you know, they're incredible. There's some sequences in this movie that are chef's kiss. Like they're really, really
probably
excellent.
some of the best dancing I've seen in a movie. Like
Absolutely.
Easily.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think Gene Kelly, what I like about him the most as a choreographer and a performer as well, is that he has this way of combining kind of character motivation and relationships and like the subtleties of what happens, like when people say like, you know, meet for a first date or they fall in love or whatever, and like these subtle cues, like physical cues, and he managed to expand on those and make them into dance. And so like everything's kind of like not like a lot of the numbers aren't like, there are flashy numbers in this, don't get me wrong, but a lot of his style is kind of subtle and it's kind of subdued and so it's kind of,
especially for like a very big kind of Broadway-esque feel the movie could go for. He's still very modest in his dancing. Like
I agree.
Whenever he springs into dance, it's the most like seamless segue as well. Like he just starts
Totally.
tapping away, and Brent and I was tapping along with him.
And so that's what I think makes this movie work. On top of that as well, let's compare this to, say, something like Singing in the Rain. Because Singing in the Rain, out of Gene Kelly's work, is still like the top dollar. It's still like the king of the jungle. And
it didn't rain in this movie.
No, it didn't. It did not. But I like kind of what this film is kind of saying as well.
Brenton, what is this film saying? I would love to know.
Well, for me, okay, and we'll get more into this later, but it's
He's blushing so much, listeners.
It's very similar to, say, a few films we've talked about before, and a film in this past decade. La La Land took a lot of inspiration from this.
Oh, boy.
Like, dreamers, and artists and creatives and trying to make your mark in the world but at the same time making like, your own not losing your own humanity and, keeping grounded.
Actually,
in
the plot of La La Land is very similar to this now I think about it.
Exactly. And so like when it reminds me of Barton Fink as well in the sense of like exploring like a creative and going into that side of things. But
that's a bit of but Barton I think does it a lot better.
Oh, like, and Barton's doing, like, is very meta in the commentary it's making. And this isn't as smart as something like Singing in the Rain, which is like a commentary on, like, a specific point in Hollywood.
Or many other films, one would argue.
Yeah. And Singing in the Rain comments on Hollywood at that time and then uses it to comment on Hollywood, in the era that it's set, sorry, not in the era that it's set, in the modern era, so it would have been the 50s, I think, as well, like mid to late 50s, I think Singing in the Rain came out. But then, obviously, Singing in the Rain is still kind of relevant in a certain way of, like, exploring, like, the film industry and the things that go on, I think, and I love that it's kind of meta in a way, and the characters in that are in that sense. So this is kind of similar in a way, but it's not as strong, like you said, in comparative to like something like Barton Fink. But I appreciate what it's going for, and I like the characters. For? I just said I think that the fact that there's a lot of daydreaming in this film says a lot. I think that it's about people. Oh no, I do. I think that it's about people that creatives specifically that go to somewhere to like kind of expound upon their artistry and to...
Is it because you're a creative? Like, did you resonate this like deeply, like on a personal level?
I don't know if I resonated super deeply, but I could see that that's what it was going for, and I guess like that's what I was taking from it. But you can't deny that the film is literally doing this. That it's about there's three central kind of characters, three men that this kind of centers around. And they're all like creatives. One's a singer, one's an artist, and one's a piano player. Two of them are struggling, one's not. And they come to, they've all been attracted. Well, the Frenchman is the one that's successful, and the two.
Funny, the Parisians choosing the Frenchman. There's some selectiveness going on there. Looking at you, Paris.
But the two Americans that come to this place, which is like Paris is known for like its artistry, its passion, its culture. You know what I mean? And so they're coming in there to suck that all up. And whilst they're doing that, the movie isn't really about that. It's about them trying to kind of live their lives and to find relationships, to find a way.
I'm all for the themes. I'm all for like what the movie's trying for, Brenton. But you got to admit to me, there's next to no plot in this movie.
Well, there is a plot, but like I would agree that like it's similar to like other films that say like have a simple plot. This is a very simple plot. It's a dude that's like trying to make ends meet in Paris, trying to become an artist, and he falls in love with someone, and it's kind of like a forbidden love storyline that he doesn't with this mysterious French girl. But hey, you asked me the question of what is this film about, and that's kind of what I.
You did answer it. You did answer it. Thank you, Brenton. Thank you. I think what was a barrier for me in connecting with those themes was maybe Gene Kelly himself, because his character is so unlikable in this movie. First and foremost,
really?
Due to his misogyny.
Really?
Dude, he treats the girls horrendously in this movie. Like from the get-go. And this film is so sexist to him, and Jesus, Oh, and it reinforces that old 50s way of movie making in the same way that we had this with other old movies we've seen with couples. That the more a man nags a woman, he'll just eventually have her fall in love with him. You know what I mean? And also because Gene Kelly is so old in this and the girls are so young, I'm like, I don't ship any of this. It just felt so creepy. And the fact that he has the Tom Cruise effect in the sense that all these girls just fall in love with him for no reason. You know what I mean?
No, I disagree. So yeah,
so you don't think the women were treated badly in this?
No, I think there's misogynistic elements that I think are obviously a direct consequence of the time that this was made in. I'm not saying that there are misogynistic lines, especially there's in terms of things of how men treat women and how men court women in this kind of world is very different to say how that would happen today. And without spoiling it, he does kind of force himself upon this woman, but at the end of the day, like I still think that he's a likable character. I don't think that's an effect of like him as a person. I still view him as a very romantic figure.
I found him so weird. For some reason, he's best friends with all these children. I'm like, there's something weird AF going on there, man. Like, he's giving them all gum, and I'm like, what is he really giving them, Brenton? You don't find it weird he's swarmed by children every fucking scene? Like...
But just to finish the point I was making on the girl, like, she still chooses to date this man, and obviously, like, that's a complication in itself, as we'll get into with spoilers.
We'll get to her, though. She's got next to no agency in this, though.
I would agree with that. That's the thing. I think that's the problem. I don't think it's necessarily his character. I think it's more that she doesn't have the agency, and I think that's the most...
Also, she just goes to him for no fucking reason. Like the movie... Okay, here's my big gripe with the plot. And this might be a spoiler, but maybe not. Tough. Here we go. Because... the movie abandons the plot in the last 20 minutes, and then it kind of gets, because there's a sequence, and then after the sequence, the movie just ends, and there's like all these threads still hanging, and what does it say? Like,
would you say it abandons the plot though?
Yes.
Or is that like
you could argue that in this like 20-minute sequence that we get towards the end, through the theme of dance, we get the plot kind of explored more. But you gotta be like, and there's a lot going on in that sequence, though. You gotta be like on the ball if you want to see that.
It's not so much that it's exploring the plot, but it's exploring the characters or the character, and it's no, but it is, and so that adds to the plot and adds to the final moments of the films and the gravity of those moments. Like I think that last dance scene is spectacular.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Like
it's easily the best part of the movie, but like the lead up to it, I'm like the whole movie. I'm sitting there going, what's the point of any of this? Like the piano player, like why? What's he around for? Besides, like, yeah, he's a struggling piano player, but he gets nothing to do. He just sits there playing some tunes.
But isn't that also kind of the point?
But he doesn't go through growth or development. You could, yes, that's true. You could say that there's a reason he gets fuck all to do is because it's a point he's in a fuck all runt. But like, you know, like the only one who gets a sense of an arc is like, you know, but he doesn't even achieve artistic success. He just, I'm getting near spoilers, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, I do know what you mean, but I think that's also kind of the point. And I really enjoyed that character, and I like that what we got from that character, and I like what he was there to kind of provide in terms of the film, in terms of where we go and the plot itself, but also like thematically what he's providing to the film. I really liked that character. I think the character that's the most underdeveloped is the lead female protagonist in the film.
As in the rich one or the poor one?
The poor one.
Oh, right. Yeah. Is it because she didn't know how to speak English?
It's probably that. That's probably part of it, but it's actually more like in terms of the screenplay and in terms of what she's provided to
probably.
do. Like there is a complication that's an interesting kind of complication, but it's not at the same time. It's something
weird. Like she explains why she can't be with Gene Kelly, and I never really got around that. I'm like, it's kind of like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me a lot of Dr. Zhivago. When that chick was with her mentor at the start, I'm like, what's this relationship here? You know what I mean?
But again, I think it's an interesting thing to explore, but I don't think they really explored it. And the lead up to that, I think is I think you could criticize in the sense of Gene Kelly's going a lot of the time, this girl's so mysterious and it's really weird, when it's kind of, I think, the natural.
Oh, he's so fucking creepy when he hits on her.
Really? I think. See, for
really?
me, I think
she's clearly not a fan of it, and she repeatedly tells him to fuck off. Like she is so not for this.
Hey man,
he
must work
goes
at some
into
point.
her work. Okay, I'm really nearing my sports. I got to hold back, but like,
yeah, you got to hold back. But like, I think Gene Kelly is like a figure, is a very romantic figure that like I can understand why she falls for him.
All of that behavior is so not okay in this movie. The way he fucking goes about getting her. We'll get into this in spoilers, but it's a not okay thing.
What what is he? We'll get into this.
We'll get this into spoilers.
Again,
we'll raise it up.
What's
the store scene? I'm not a fan of, for example.
Oh, see, that's a great scene. That's a great scene. Yeah,
why? It's inappropriate.
Well, yeah, you could argue that, but at the end of the day, she falls for him, and
you
like,
can't say it's
it.
okay because it works, Brenton. That's definitely not an okay thing.
What that he? Okay, we'll get into the spoilers. Okay, but like,
let's talk about a non-spoilers thing before we do that. Let's talk about the music. Do you want to talk about the songs? Like, what do you think of the actual like repertoire?
I think it's all good. Obviously, it's.
I don't think it's that memorable.
Oh, like I think there's some classics in here that are like, you know, yeah, absolutely.
Brenton's like throwing sheet music at me, like, look at those bars.
I got rhythm.
Can you hum it for me? Because I really can't get it.
I got rhythm. I got music. I got my girl who could ask for anything more. That it's like classic. It's like one of the most classic tunes ever. Stairway to Paradise. I'm Stairway to Paradise. Da 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 da.
Listeners, you can't see this, but Bren's like doing a little tap dance as he's doing it.
But like, yeah, these are like classic songs. Like, absolutely. Like, I think the first song in the film is the weakest.
Oh yeah, Jesus. Oh, that's when the film lost me. Like, yeah.
I think that's probably, out of all the tunes in it, is probably the most is the least memorable. But the rest of them I can get amongst. You're not gonna walk like I was still humming like I Got Rhythm and Stairway to Paradise, like, you know, after the film. And whilst I don't think that they will necessarily stick in your mind as much as, say, something like, again, we're gonna bring up the comparison of Singing in the Rain, you know, which has got so many bangers.
That's the thing. I think a musical needs bangers. I feel like that's like a prerequisite for me. Like,
but I think there's bangers in this film. There's there was
he's like holding up his Spotify playlist. Like, look,
there was a few in this that I was like, Chef's Kiss. Like, I Got Rhythm, I thought was just like awesome. I thought that was an awesome segment in the film, and
I like the choreography in it.
Yeah, really, really good.
I don't. It feels like a bit 50s musical. Like, it feels like a little bit generic 50s musical. Like, I didn't feel that different from The Crop. Or was it, or like it was like an exemplar, like takeaway from it. I don't know. I feel like because
what was generic about it?
You know what? I don't think the song fit the moment. Because normally with a great song in musicals, in my opinion, is that it really informs character or really illustrates emotion of the scene, and it kind of just comes out of nowhere. Like, he's just walking down the street and he's just like, "Oh fuck it, time to dance." Like, which by the way happens a lot in this movie. Like, there'll just be a dance sequence out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would say to that is that this is a different type of musical though. Like, what you're talking about is like something that, like, as musicals have developed, like that is kind of the case more, that they do come out of like moments and it is kind of fleshed into the story. Whereas like you could make the same point you just made about Singing in the Rain.
That is also,
you could make that point.
That's true. You could. You're right.
You could.
Yeah.
But it still works because it's inferring things about characters. Like the first song in this film.
Actually,
like,
no, I do dismiss that a little bit. I think Rain's repertoire informs more in its characters than American in Paris.
I'd say they're about the same, to be honest. Like, I would say they're about the same, and I think they both have the same issue of what you're saying, and it's just how musicals have evolved, specifically musicals in film, in the sense of like, because more and more as musicals developed, like they just started adapting stage musicals because all of that work was already done. These musicals have just taken the songs and then written a plot around them.
I think that maybe is my biggest gripe with the movie.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
because I know how it was made, in the sense that they just bought the songs and then built a story around that. In the same way like what they did for Mamma Mia. Like, they just like had this catalog and they just like formed a musical around it. And maybe that's why I'm like, and you know what? I don't even hate what the movie's trying to do, because I so get the metaphor of what an American in Paris is like. You know, that optimistic entrepreneur who goes to an artistic city and they end up falling on their face. Like, I'm all for all that, but like, I don't know. It wasn't as rich as I was hoping for. Like, did you feel anything during this? Were you sad when shit didn't work out? Were you cheering? You know what I mean? Absolutely. I was really into it. It took me, again, like, I think the opening moments is probably, in terms of like the pacing of the film and also where the plot takes us, I think the opening moments could be a bit swifter in kind of getting us to the main plot. But I was really into it, and I think the third act is so strong in this film. I think the second act's strong in this film as well. But honestly, do you want to rate it?
Sure, yeah.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
I'm giving it a thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, I
I'm
can
really
see we're
keen
not
on this
swaying
movie.
each other.
No.
We're standing on either end. It's like, come jump to the right side, and you're just like, nah.
I'm really keen on this one. I love it. I think it's.
Why would it be good for a Thursday night? Why is it relevant in 2020?
I've kind of said already why it's relevant in 2020 in terms of like, I think the themes have like stood the test of time. I think on top of that, I think, you know, it's one of the more spectacular films I've seen, in the sense of its production design and in the sense of its scale, in the sense of what it provides you. I think there's some great songs in here, and I think it's really worth a watch. I'd watch this over La La Land.
See, I wouldn't. I would easily watch La La Land over this. I think because it's doing way more interesting things narratively with it. I guess maybe I feel like this is a common theme in my criticisms across the episodes. If you listen to the show a bit, listeners, like it's always like, if a film doesn't do narratively interesting things, I will start really detaching from it. And musicals are the easiest culprits of this as well, by the way, as a medium. And like, but also I feel like with musicals, especially when it comes to you and me, Brenton, I feel like also it just comes down to taste. I feel like, especially with because music is so integral, I feel like if you don't love the songs, or if your personal preference of songs swings one way or the other, that's just something that's insurmountable. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I feel like that definitely plays a part here. Although I do think that you're right in the sense of like these themes resonated with you, but I just feel like I've seen these been done better elsewhere. And I feel like I really want to stand by that this film is really sexist and outdated. I don't think it does well today. And I'm curious to see the Broadway adaptation to see if they fix the narrative issues in this, because I do genuinely think that women would have issue with this. I watched this with my friend Nat, and she was just shaking her head going, this film's so misogynistic. And I think she's right. Like, you know, it illustrates wrong lessons about how to get women, and I think...
Hang on a sec, but you're taking from the point, like, I admitted it and said, like, yeah, this film has issues in terms of the misogyny of it. My point was that, like, I think we disagree where those points are. I think this film is definitely misogynistic, and it's made at a different time, and, like, those elements are still in the movie. But there's a lot of other movies that, like, you've given thumbs up to that we've admitted have, like, misogynistic aspects to them.
And the reason I do that is because I think there's something else there that, you know, it doesn't counterbalance it, but I think it has something else to say that you can narrow your focus on instead. In the same way, when you watch Breakfast at Tiffany's, you got Mickey Rooney in there, but you still watch it because there's so much else in there to mine out.
That's my. I guess that was my point. Is what I was trying to make. Is that, like, you know,
and so I'm not dismissing it outright because of the misogyny. I just genuinely think in 2020, like, why would I give this to people? Why would I watch an American in Paris? You know what I mean? Like, I did all the musicals as well. It's like, I don't know. Like, if you love Singing in the Rain and that's like the exact type of musical you want, I guess this is as close as you'll get to it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like in style,
this is from that era, and it's one of the best from that era. Yeah.
Yeah, but and you know, and it won Best Picture. Like clearly there's critical acclaim, you know, to it, but I just don't think it hold. Truly, like, the point of this podcast, I personally believe it doesn't hold up, so my thumbs are down.
Dude, that's all good.
It's all good.
That's all good.
All right, Brenton. I'll go to the Louvre, and I guess you can spend the day at the Arc de Triomphe. We'll meet up for lunch. Like, so those travel trips where you just disagree on the things you want to see. So that's us, Brenton. You spoiled it.
What?
The movie.
Oh, cool. So let's talk about.
Can we talk about the shop scene?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about the shop scene.
Because it's so inappropriate. Because he goes up to her at the fucking cafe, and she's like with like old mate, and like she's like, fuck off. Like repeatedly, she's like, don't. And like he like drags her up to the stage, and she's like, I don't want to be here. Like, she so clearly doesn't give consent. And then finally he concedes, and it's like, fine, go back to whoever. And then he just rocks up to like the store, convinced she's in love, and he like rocks up to her workplace and is like, oh hey, I'm here. Just like expecting her to go on a date and ditch her job. It's like, is that not wrong?
I don't think it was us. Okay, this issue was in it. Like I said, there are issues in it. But my thing with this is that it comes more down to her character. I think that she's really underdeveloped in the sense of, like, when she's like taken away, I think what they're going for in that scene is like that she's all kind of like playing, and she's like kind of like playing hard to get is what it's going for. Whereas like in the film, she's like concentrating on speaking English.
Yeah, exactly. Like this poor actress who didn't know a fucking word.
So like, it's kind of like, it's kind of dead in the face. And then it kind of comes alive that she's suddenly like in love with him at a certain point, and she finds him funny and attractive and whatnot.
At the turn of a dime, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and so
it's so fucking cliche.
That's more my issue with it. I think in terms of him going to her workplace, like you could argue logistically, like, yes, today, like, or any day, like to go into a workplace and to try and court someone in their workplace is inappropriate. But how many other modern films do you watch, and how many other pieces of art do you watch that use the workplace as a place to like go in and fucking court someone?
Yeah, there are countless. Okay, rom-coms do this shit all the time, but they get away with it because they illustrate that the girl is really, really keen for the guy, and like there's this great flirtation underneath it.
And I think that's what the film's going for, Nathan.
Yeah, I just don't think it's executed at the same extent.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree that it's not executed, and on her part, it's not executed as well as it could be. Halfway through the shop scene, she suddenly starts laughing at him and finding him funny, and it's like it's got googly eyes for him. It's like the weirdest turn on a dime thing I've ever seen. But it's obviously there's meant to be a build there that like isn't there for some reason that would make it make sense. So if the same scenario happened and she was obviously into it,
it's just like, it's so fucking weird as well. And that woman who's like trying all the perfumes, and she's like, oh, dude. Oh, you know what's, she's like, oh, can you take it back to my hotel? I'm like, you've got a handbag with you. It's a perfume bottle. You take it home to your hotel with you. It's so, do you find that weird?
Oh, dude. That was like the weirdest scene. like
it was bizarre.
That was actually no. That the scene in the shop is fine. Like that's all fine. That the interaction is like, well, I can give an opinion. And then they have some kind of like flirtation of like older woman to younger guy, like, and it's like, oh yeah, whatever. You see that all the time. And then what's weird is when she leaves, and then he comes into her again on the street, and he sniffs her like from behind, like
Jesus,
her neck from behind, and then they kind of continue that flirtation, and it's like. Yeah, maybe a bit too much. Maybe just should have left that
just a little bit too much, yeah. Oh, Gene Kelly is way too much in a lot of this movie. I laughed at the scene where like he's hanging up his paintings on these magical hooks that exist on the walls of Paris.
Oh, dude, that was great.
Oh,
that was great. That was great. The magical hooks.
Oh, it's fucking everywhere in Paris apparently. But anyway, he's hanging up his art, and this like random like art school girl or whatever like comes up to the paintings a little bit curious, and he fucking slams her. Like he rips. She makes like one comment on the art, and he like goes in this like diatribe against this chick.
It's pretty funny. I was wondering whether, and the film explains it eventually. It explains like what in the next beat. It's like it explains why he did that. But I was like, is he doing it because like he doesn't want to like. He's trying to avoid criticism, and he's like he's one of these artists that's just
so
like
triggered,
so triggered by criticism that he just like wants to just avoid it outright by like trying to not let people look at his work. And then it's revealed that it's like he's like, no, I spotted that she was obviously
yeah, but I love that they give you context later, because without context it's so
because
funny.
Without context you're like who the fuck is this psycho asshole that's just like he like cracked in the head.
I thought she was like some chick who always came, and they had this like real cantankerous relationship, but she's just a complete stranger, and it makes it even funnier. I'm like, oh bless. And it's even funnier then when after her the rich girl comes around, and, because I was waiting for the same thing to happen. I was so excited, but then she's like, and it's such bullshit, this whole thing, because like she's like, oh, I love your art. She's like, I'm gonna make you a star. It fucking turns into A Star Is Born, if anything. And she's like, I'm gonna make you like the best painter ever. Yeah. And like,
except it's not, because they don't actually have a like relationship. Well, she wants them.
Yeah, she's thirsty. She's so thirsty. Oh my god. Okay. Brenton, would you find this weird? Okay, say you're doing, I don't know, you're fucking busking on the street or whatever, and this rich fucker is like, hey, I'm throwing a party tonight. Can you come and we're going to like talk about tunes? And you're like, yeah, for sure. And you rock up and there's no one else and it's just the person. And they're like, oh, we're the party. Would you not find that a little bit bizarre?
Yeah, like, but I think that happens all the time. Like, I think that's true to life. I think that does happen.
Like rolling up his sleeves, like hiding some scars, like, oof.
But... No, from experience, like
really,
done
does it actually happen to you?
Not. Yes,
you're
like,
biting
yes,
your tongue for a story. What happened?
I'm not gonna get into it. No, like it's. But like,
can you tell me off air, or is this just like a not on air thing? Like,
this is just a not on air thing that we're not gonna go into. But
listeners, tweet at Brenton, berate him. He'll eventually tell this story.
I've had a similar experience that obviously doesn't go to the expense.
Was it weird and was it creepy?
Well, the thing was, I kind of shut it down. I didn't continue. You know what I mean? Like I didn't continue it. Like but like but it is weird in that sense. You know what I mean? But people do shit like that all the time, and it is weird.
So you were watching this like, I get it.
But what I like even more about this one is that it was a female kind of entrepreneur, let's say rich, well-to-do person that was kind of let's say preying on the young men. like I thought that was interesting, like in a way, like and it reminded me of what's that Sweet Bird of Youth by Tennessee Williams, where you have the old actress in that film that has like the young kind of escort that she has to like make her feel, I guess, I don't know, there's a lot of themes in that play of like going into like, but it reminded me of that kind of relationship, but it's not at the same time, because he's always like, no, I have my honor, and it's obviously a thing of the time. No, I have my honor, and I'm not gonna
what is he,
to
Japanese?
Like I'm not gonna steep to like give you like, I'm not gonna
he's
take
like,
your
I ain't
money
no
because you want me. Yeah, like pretty much, and then like he ends up just being that.
But he ends up going back to her in spite when like the chick doesn't work out. Like,
I know, and then he admits it. To his credit, he goes, you know what, Soz babe, I kind of did this because clearly I was hurt from.
Here's the thing. So like the whole movie, he's like trying to get with this chick, right? And then like when like it doesn't work out, and she's like, "Oh, I have to go," and like they're in love, but then like she dumps him. Like the next scene, he moves on fast, and like he's immediately with the rich girl.
But you can't say he was moving on.
Well, you know what I mean. Well, he rebounded fast. You know what I mean. Which
he was doing it. He was doing it from spite and from hurt. Like it wasn't like he was moving on, because clearly he doesn't. Because he's like, oh hey, I know that like I took you to this party tonight. I know I kind of like passed you and like you were really into that and that was all happening. But I'm not into it because obviously I'm still in love with that girl that's running away to America to marry this other guy. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that this girl like leads this guy on for like the whole movie as well. Like, if we're going to talk about misogyny,
all of them.
yeah, if we're going to talk about misogyny, like this is fucking wrong as well. Like this behavior, like the fact that she
this movie, this fucking movie, Brenton.
And like people do this again, and like this is not acceptable.
No,
and, like, but it happens all the time.
Just because
it
happens doesn't make it okay.
That's what I'm saying. Just because it happens in the real world doesn't make it okay. But you know, it's reflecting life, I guess, in that sense. But she leads this guy on for the whole time when she knows that she's like in a relationship, which is not for love, which is for let's say It's like she owes her like eventual husband one.
Yeah, it's so weird because like he took her in, and it's like, but now you have to marry her. It's like, what is this, Wuthering Heights? Like,
yeah, well, it's like I was thinking Wuthering Heights. I was thinking Little Women. It's like, you know, for economically, it makes sense, I guess, for her as well because like, what does Gene Kelly have? good tap moves and some nice canvases.
Tell you what, mate, if a chick danced like that for me, I would put a ring on that in a heartbeat.
She is stunning. She is like stunning in this movie. Like when she rocks beautiful. Up, yeah. I was just like, whoa.
Like, good day. Like, yeah, she's very, very beautiful and she's wonderful. I just wish she had more to do. Like,
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there would have been more complexity there because really, if a girl starts doing that shit with you, let's just make like give you this.
Brenton,
scenario.
we're in Paris, and you know we're falling in love with these birds, and then here we go. We've been hoodwinked.
There's this girl that you're seeing, and she won't tell you about what she does during the day when she's not with you. She won't tell you about anything about herself. You've got this very passionate connection, and it's obviously like, you know.
But enough about my RuneScape girlfriend, Brenton.
And then wouldn't you question that? Wouldn't you as a person like really question that and be like, hey, not only question it, but then start to think maybe there's someone else involved in this. You know what I mean? Maybe there's another man. Like, that's where people's brains go, like, naturally.
Adultery is always, like, they go, that's the first thing they jump to.
Yeah, and so, like, Gene Kelly is the most oblivious, like, innocent person in this movie.
Is it because he's just consistently surrounded by children? Do you reckon,
probably.
Do you reckon maybe Gene Kelly is a child in this movie? Like...
But imagine if that was like that drama had been kind of like unfolding earlier and there was more conflict there.
Yeah.
Like it would have been more
like,
interesting.
They could have done narratively interesting things with this, you know?
Yeah.
Like there could have been great drama, but the musical just like, nah, fuck it. We just want to tap dance. And like, to the musical's credit, why shouldn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I agree, but it's like it comes at the cost of this other character's I guess agency and also, you know, in making her an interesting character in her own right, because she's all right to begin. Like she's all right. Like I kind of like where it goes in the end, and I like the reasoning for like that she stays with the other guys because there's a connection there, which is from a really tragic backstory, and then on top of that, like, you know, like. Because of the times, economically, it makes more sense. Like that's an interesting thing to play, and we've seen that happen in other stories as well.
Oh yeah,
but the fact that it doesn't do that, like I said, I still like this movie, but it's a missed opportunity.
Way missed opportunity, Brenton. Like,
the other missed opportunity in this film is that Gene Kelly starts painting a portrait of the love of his life, and we never see the finished product. Nathan.
No, because the movie abandons all plot. Because after that fucking dream sequence, I was flabbergasted that after the whole fucking danceroo around Paris, it cut back to him waking up, and then she just comes out of the car, runs into his arms, cut to credits. Like that's it. Also, we never know why. Because she goes into the car, and then we presume the same scene from Breakfast at Tiffany's happened, where like she chucked out a cat or something and had like an epiphany or something.
No. I think it was obvious kind of what happened. It was setting up that the fiance, the French singer, had heard the altercation on the.
Does he know the whole movie? Because they kind of hint that he does.
No, he doesn't know the whole movie. He doesn't know the whole movie, but he's on the balcony when they have their final embrace.
Yeah,
and he overhears the whole thing.
Yeah, the camera pans like it's this big reveal. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, and then he gets in the car. So it's set up. He gets in the car, and then she's in the car, and she's clearly really upset. And you can imagine there's a whole conversation.
So do you reckon then that dream sequence happens in real time? That's the reason it goes for like 20 minutes, because that's how long the argument would have taken.
You know what? Probably. But in terms of how this movie should have ended, I think it should have ended like La La Land. I think it would have been way more. Like, I get why it doesn't, and I like that it doesn't.
And I think La La Land's more powerful that they're not together. Like,
no, but I think this could have had the same thing of like that they don't end up together, and that it just ends on that rose, like after the dance sequence, and it just cuts to black.
That would have been good. No, it goes back to like Ryan Gosling in like a jazz bar, just like.
But at the same time, like, I appreciate why it does that. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, for the characters in this, I think it makes sense that they end up together. Because clearly that other guy's in the car like, oh, fuck, I'm about to go to America with this person that I've just found out has been, like, deceiving me for the past.
They're about to do the sequel, a Parisian in America.
Exactly. So, like, it makes sense that I was like, it would probably, even if it ended there on the rose, I'd still be happier with it. But in my head, I think they would still end up together.
Probably. Like, yeah. It's like that thing where, like, it reminds me, what was that movie where you said, what did you think happens to the characters after they end up together? Oh, it reminds me of Big. Where you're just like, the ending of the film offers so much possibility.
Yeah. She goes to therapy is what happens at the end of that movie.
She gets big. She just fucking walks past a vending machine dejected. She's just like, oh, I wish I was big. And there's like a fucking piano just with Tom Hanks. Oh, that'd be great. Oh, it'd be so good. Do you want to talk about the black and white party or the dream sequence next, Brenton?
Let's talk about the dream sequence because we're at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're both at the end of the movie, but we'll talk about that dream sequence is
holy
sublime.
shit. That is outstanding. Easily probably the best musical thing I've seen in the movie.
Oh, it's genuinely incredible.
And also surprising how long it goes for. It just keeps escalating, doesn't it? Like, oh.
I think it's like the last 25 minutes of this film, there's like no dialogue. There's no dialogue. No. It's just all dance.
And it's great. And it's also, and the thing like, and you could say that to someone who doesn't know the movie and they'd roll their eyes going, oh, fuck, here we go. But like, outstanding dance. Like, excellent choreography, like set design. Some of the best costumes I've seen in a movie. Like, Jesus.
Production design through the roof.
You see where all the budget went. Oh.
The storytelling, though, through that is just really, really strong. Like, through dance. Like, I just think it's really something...
It's world-class dancing, like...
Yeah, it's worth the price of admission alone.
And did you know this fact, how that was added last minute?
I was reading about that. Yeah. I was blown away.
So this movie originally wasn't going to have that. And could you imagine this movie not having it?
I think it was planned that they were going to do it, but they were running out of time because of the scale of this production.
Yeah.
And then, basically, MGM... had set their, release date at a certain point, and basically the creatives went to MGM, and MGM backed them and agreed to like give them extra time to do this sequence.
Thank God they did.
And thank goodness they did. Thank goodness they did. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And I love the painted like set design of Paris and like the frozen fountain, like all of it. Like oh, there's some weird shit going on in some of those dances, but like overall, I was still quite impressed.
Did you like when he went into the painting and he became like the painting?
Oh my God, jeez. I've seen that parodied so many times. Like I'm now immune to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I've grown beyond it. But speaking of weird shit, what is this arts ball that they go to? This
context is everything,
isn't it though?
Gene Kelly goes, "Hey, I'm going to this art ball. You're coming with me, babe. Let's go to his rich..." Her name's Milo, I think, actually, which is kind of hilarious.
I love that.
I couldn't...
I wish you had a tin of Milo with her every scene.
I couldn't get that chocolate sand out of my head. Anyway, so...
Do you love Milo?
I do, actually. I like how I like to have it, though. I don't mix it in with the milk.
Ooh,
I pour the milk on top.
very controversial.
And then I, like, eat the Milo, like, out of the bottom of it, like...
What?
So it's kind of like...
So it goes through the milk, like...
Yeah, so you scoop it out through the side of it, and there's like a little trickle of milk, but then it's just like chocolate sand. It's like the milk just gets in the way of the Milo. So you have like a little bit of milk, but mostly Milo.
Have you seen anyone else do that, or is that just like a you thing?
No, I'm weird, and it's so good, dude.
Listeners, tweet in. How do you have the Milo? Let's see if Brenton's alone, like...
Well, next time I'm over... Next time we get together, man, like... I'll show you how to have a Milo.
Next time we have a night out, you and me. Fuck the prees. We're just going to have Milo. Like, I reckon Milo would be good as a mixer for like booze. Like if you put some vodka in there or something like that.
Fuck no.
Because controversially, I'm not a huge fan of Milo. Like,
that's all right. I can understand why. It's really weird. It's chocolate sand.
It's like, literally chocolate
bizarre.
sand.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It's
for all my
really
listeners
weird.
that are not Australian, this may sound very weird. Like, this is a landmark icon in this country.
Chocolate dirt, yum. But it's like... It's so addicting. I don't know what it is about that just gets me going.
I bet there's a Milo cocktail out there. I bet somewhere in Sydney we'll find a bar that has a Milo
absolutely.
cocktail.
Sydney, the thing is like Milo milkshakes as well. Everyone does fucking Milo milkshakes and like...
Especially when you walk down the CBD, God, it's like Milo Central. But you kind of hope that in the capital you would be surrounded by Milo. Like, I'd be bitterly disappointed as a tourist if it wasn't a thing.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's not like, I don't know, it's not like they have like Vegemite shakes. Actually, no, Boost Juice did that thing that time where they had the fucking Vegemite flavors in like their shakes. Yeah, dude.
Oh, do you like Vegemite?
I didn't have them. No, well, I mean, I don't look. I've warmed to it, but I used to hate Vegemite. Like, I can have a little bit of it and be like, oh yeah, cool. But it's not great.
In a
people
smoothie
are, like, drinking
though, in
these
a
shakes.
shake, like
Yeah.
oh,
Like, fuck off. Like
that's
get
you're
fucked.
drinking
No.
lard. Like, oh, that's horrendous. You know what? Controversial. Marmite's better than Vegemite.
Is it? I hear this from a few people.
You've never had
actually,
Marmite?
that it is. I've never had it.
Oh, mate, you're missing
So
out.
next time we're together,
Oh.
dude, pre's a set. We're having Milo milks, Brenton style, and I'm having some Marmite. What is it? Marmite. Sorry.
It's a shame. I normally just kick you out of my house after these recordings. Like, I'll keep you around next time, and we'll have a dessert of Milo and Marmite. I tell you what.
You just made my day.
But let us know, listeners. Yeah, let us know if you like Marmite more, because I feel like it's a British thing as well. Like in the UK,
Yeah.
Marmite's big over there as well. So maybe it's the cultural thing. But anyway, an American in Paris. This party.
This art party that they go to is like kind of like French mime themed, I think. Like, it's really weird.
It's so fucking weird. It's also weird that all these people have the resources to make half these costumes. You know what I mean?
No. Where did they get it from? They're always going, oh, I'm so poor. And then they rock up at this place. And like,
Maybe this is why they're all poor.
what is the demographic of people here as well? Because like the famous fucking like French concert singers there. With
Yeah.
like the
At an
pianist
art
that
hall?
has... Yeah, and like with the pianist that like has like never worked professionally, who's there in a black and white cowboy outfit.
It's so it's so weird. Also, I fucking didn't get the memo because all of them are kind of more like abstract black and white costumes, but he's just like a straight up cowboy. It's like,
Dude, did you expect that that character was going to end up with Milo?
no, it's so
I thought they
weird and
were.
it's out of nowhere.
I thought they were at a point. I was like, I think they could end up together, but then it just kind of like it ends obviously on our main characters. But they do have that little scene together when like they're talking
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I was like, oh, I can
ship
get
it.
amongst this.
I was like, it's weird. It's so weird. It must be another movie we see that I'm forgetting where like the two side characters just end up like just like sit looking at each other and go, oh, I guess we'll date. Like, oh no, you know what it reminds me of? Because I watched this recently. It reminds me of High School Musical. I know if you remember that first High School Musical movie well, but like at the end of it, like Zac Efron's father, and then like oh no, it's not High School Musical. Sorry, it's this is even more embarrassing. It's the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Is that the one where they go to Italy?
That is the one where they go to Italy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going through Disney Plus the other day and I got desperate, but like, but at the end of that movie, shout out to any listeners who've seen the Lizzie McGuire movie. There's a scene at the end, spoilers for that movie if you care, where like the male producer of Lizzie McGuire's twin ends up looking at the school teacher that takes them on the tour. And like they just kind of have this glance at each other and everyone's kind of like coupling up by that point. They kind of just like shrug and end up together.
What? I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's weird, man. And you know what? After rewatching the Lizzie McGuire movie, there is a lot of similarities between that and Spider-Man Far From Home.
Wow.
Like very similar movies.
So you think that Spider-Man Far From Home was perhaps influenced
By the
in
Lizzie
some way by
McGuire
Lizzie
movie?
McGuire?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There is a conspiracy there, Brenton. And I give me the time of day. I won't do it on this podcast. I won't waste the listener's time anymore. But I tell you what, look into it, listeners. Watch both movies back to back and you'll see what I'm seeing.
Scandalous.
Very scandalous.
Nathan.
But anyway, again, the black and white party. Because I want to point out, Brenton, that at this party, the thing that made me just go, what the hell? There's people jumping from the balcony haphazardly, praying that someone's just there. At what point Gene Kelly just happens to catch a woman who he was definitely not expecting?
Yeah. Like, and no, not only is it like people are jumping off, there's only one person that's jumping off the balcony. It's the same woman both times. So
she's just like weirdly suicidal. Like,
so-
is this the tiger from Dr. Dolittle?
So she jumps off the balcony the first time, and then like we have a little scene, and then she jumps off again. So during that scene, she enjoyed that so much, and like it was so risky that someone caught her just in time. Like, oh god, I just caught you, and she's like, I'm gonna do that again, and she sprints up. So just know that during that dream sequence at the end, she probably jumped off the balcony a third time and potentially broke both of her legs.
Oh my god. Jesus. Now that's how they should have ended this movie. Just like Gene Kelly and the chick just fucking embrace and like all like the music soars and then the camera pans and there's this woman just like dying on the floor next to them.
With like mangled legs.
Oh.
Yeah, like what an ending.
Oh, that's how it should have happened, Brenton.
Oh.
All right, let's get into some special segments, boy.
Well, wait, before we go into special segments, last thing, we didn't really address the kids in this movie because you were saying that Gene Kelly's a
thank
total
you,
creep.
Brenton. Yes. Well done. This needed to be talked about. What is going on with these children? Also, can I give a shout out to the extras? Because every time that like Gene Kelly bursts into song, every extra looks so fucking happy with him singing. I have never seen a group of extras look more amused and celebrated at someone dancing.
Nathan, if you were on a set with Gene Kelly and you got to watch him do that,
You know what? Yeah.
dance,
Now that you mentioned
would you
it,
I would be beaming.
I'd probably
you
have
know
the
what
same
I mean?
expression too. But it's so weird
Yeah.
because normally in musicals, I guess they're nonchalant because I guess the character's kind of dancing in their own world. But in this movie, it just stands out so much that the extras are getting around it.
Yeah.
But are we watching Rocky 2 where he gets swarmed by the children? Because I feel like we are, Brenton.
I feel like we kind of are as well.
Also,
I
again,
agree.
what's his relationship to these kids? Because like he says at one point he gives them gum, and I'm like,
He gives them American bubble gum is what he gives them.
There's something not right
gives
about
them-
that.
He blows the bubbles. Okay.
Nah, Brenton, I'm not for this. Nah. Oh.
Look, I don't think it's as egregious as, I get your point, but I don't think it's as egregious as what you say. I think it's fine. Like you can see what they're going for.
It's going for the innocent angle, but like
I think
don't know.
it's innocent, but I can see what you're saying because his facial expressions are very clown-like in those moments. And when someone's like not dressed as a clown and they're doing like funny faces and shit towards kids, it's like Joaquin Phoenix in Joker when he's on the train.
You're just like, nah, get the fuck away from our child. I was kind of hoping this film, Brenton, that when the kids were coming up to Gene Kelly and all swarming him, I really wanted it to segue into Oliver, where they just like pickpocket him and run.
Yeah.
Like he's like singing them a merry little song and they steal all of his gum and money and they just like, sprint off. Like, oh.
Yeah.
I wanted it to turn into Two Hands where they just fucking like steal the thing and then Gene Kelly's like chasing after them.
And then one of them gets hit by a car.
Oh, now that's
and then
a movie.
the other one gets a pistol and goes into like the drug den and like shoots up the gang.
Now that's a musical, Brenton.
and then the musical ends.
Oh,
Nathan,
listeners, if you haven't seen Two Hands, watch Two Hands. It's so good. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get to some special segments.
Special segment.
Ooh, so special.
So Nathan, I'm introducing a new segment today.
Oh wow,
on the show.
What a treat!
It could have been a couple other segments that we've already done, but I thought, fuck it, let's do something new. You know,
All right,
let's
what's the
keep up
new?
with the times. You know, let's do what you did. Let's make some new narrative choices. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Nathan, this new segment is what movie did this better?
Ooh, I already love the title. Title talk for this segment, A+.
So, Nathan, we're going to talk about the last 20 minutes of An American in Paris.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the last 20 minutes of La La Land.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
and
Brenton.
which movie?
We already know which teams you and I are fucking playing for in this conversation.
I'm conflicted. This is why I brought it up because I'm conflicted.
Oh. It's not fair for La La Land because it had modern technology and CGI to help it.
Yeah, but aside from that, because La La Land is so influenced by this. In fact, Jamie and Chazelle
influence is like
actually
generous. More like just outright stole from this.
Yeah. So La La Land director Damien Chazelle said, "An American in Paris is such a stunner. That's a movie that we just pillaged."
Yeah, even he's upfront about it.
Yeah. It's an awesome example of how daring some of those old musicals really were. It's incredible that it ever got made, let alone that it won Best Picture, is what Damien Chazelle said.
And he's
about
right.
it.
Yeah. That's why First Man's such a great movie.
Yeah, exactly, because it borrowed all that stuff from An American in Paris.
Oh, now that's how you fucking sell tickets. Have Ryan Gosling on the moon to start tap dancing. That's how you sell tickets.
But it got me thinking. I was like, which movie? Because I think I don't love La La Land as a film, as I've.
But even
expressed.
coming from someone who does, I think this movie did it better.
You think it does the last 20 minutes better?
Probably. Yeah.
Because I'm conflicted. Because I love the last 20 minutes of La La Land.
Same.
I think it's outstandingly
Maybe
good.
because it's
and I think
live?
the same of this film.
Because, okay, here's the thing. In La La Land, it's just Emma and Ryan doing the dancing. Whereas, like, in this, you have a full soundstage. And also, it's real. Like, you see this, you see the set design that they built. They painted this thing. Like, the costumes, I think, are better. Because Ryan and Emma are pretty much in the same thing for the whole sequence. So I kind of want to say American Paris does it better.
It's a tough one. I'm really conflicted. But I think you're right. I do think you're right.
Yeah. It's weird I'm propagating American in Paris. But then again, like, and also you could argue that, you know, La La Land's got the derivative angle, but we hadn't seen this movie by the point we saw La La Land. So, like,
That's
you
right.
can't really,
yeah.
you know, parp that unless you've seen it. And it didn't bother me, but like...
And you know what? You know what probably adds to the La La Land ending as well is probably like, I think what it has over American in Paris is like, so when we go back to the real world in American in Paris, like you said, that last scene you're not really sold by.
No,
but
I hated it.
When we go back to the real world, when we go back to the jazz bar, when we go back to Ryan in La La Land, that last exchange, which is just that look across the room, is so powerful.
Oh, yeah, it's like, amazing. Yeah, it's exactly what it needs to be.
So I think that's what La La Land has up on an American in Paris is like its legitimate ending, like straight after the dream sequence. But yeah, I think like if you look at that lavish kind of dream sequence, it's otherworldly. It's just incredible.
It's amazing.
Like, how'd they do it?
Brenton's like putting up wallpaper around my house now, just like, no, Brent, we're not going to do it now.
We're doing it now.
All right, well, let's check out what stills this movie.
Ooh, it's blinding.
Stills this movie. It's a section where Brent and I would choose a screenshot from the movie. It could be a beautiful mosaic work of art, or it could just be something really like visually stupid that we want to giggle at and point some fingers. And in this case, Brenton found a still that I think is incredible. Do you want to run us through it, buddy?
Yeah. So the film opens, and the still I've chosen, by the way, you can find this on our social platforms such as Instagram, Twitter. You can see it
Links
on YouTube
in the description.
as well.
Just tap it.
Yeah, dude, go check it out. But the thing I like about this one is this is the first time we glimpse Gene Kelly's character.
Yeah.
And
this is the first frame we get.
it comes with some narration. So look at this image and it shows Gene Kelly on his fucking bed, which also, I didn't talk about this in spoilers, which he like pulls a rope and it like goes into the ceiling.
I love it when he sets up his bedroom. Like he's got like 5 rooms like packed away into the one. It's great.
It's incredible.
His
I
desk
love it.
that folds out, love it. It's great.
I love it.
Oh.
I love it all. But so we open on Gene Kelly, who wakes up and he just eyeballs straight down the lens, and he's kind of
So
lying on his
suave.
side in this suave look, and he gives this. He's got one eyebrow raised, and he's got a dead stare at the camera. And his narration says this as he makes this eye contact. His narration says, "Voila," like voila, like there I am, I am. You know. It's a beautiful image, and you know what? It made me chuckle. I'm not gonna lie.
Brenton, do you want those PJs? Those red and white PJs?
I want those PJs so bad. You know, I think there was actually...
Bringing back another thing of us wanting clothes from movies.
There was a song from this film that was cut that involved him singing, I think, in those PJs.
Yeah, which they use for Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Gene Kelly just loves being in his PJs in film. I think because he just rocks up from his home in his pajamas. He's like, oh, do I have to get changed?
Nathan, if I looked that good when I got out of bed in the morning, I'd want to do a number in my PJs as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he literally woke up like this. You know what I find funny about this still as well? Because I think in this movie, he's a shit painter. I said it. There we go. I don't like his art at all. I look at it like, this is horrendous. But then you look at this still and what's in the background, which I presume he painted because it's his apartment. And that looks good. I think the painting in the background's great.
Maybe it's a case of that, like, because he's framed that one as well, so he must.
Yeah, he must really love it.
Yeah, I don't know. Why is it? Do you reckon that eventually when he does his exhibition that will feature?
Oh my god, that's the thing. We don't even see the exhibition. It never happens.
I know.
The movie abandons so much of shit just to do this one romantic plot. All right. Well, hey. Let's look at this film's poster. Brenton.
Yes.
Let's look at this film's poster.
But is it art? Oh, Nathan.
Oh, Brenton.
Nathan.
I really like this poster, actually.
I do too.
It's good.
Great? It's so good.
Poster's also in the description, guys. Just tap the link. You'll see it on our Insta.
You know what? There's probably too much text is the only thing I'd say. But apart from that, I'm down.
Yeah. It's a great... Where was this blue cap that Gene Kelly's wearing in the poster? Where was this in the movie?
Mate, old posters have this thing where they take the costume design and they take like stills from the movie, but then they like change the colors of it. So like that's his white cap, obviously, that he wears in the film that they had a picture of. And then they've just like gone, you know what? When they're like painting that, they're like, you know what would be better? What pops more? Blue on white. So let's make it blue.
I mean, they're not wrong. This reminds me a little bit of you know, The Fault in Our Stars, that kind of text, like on the book cover.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking
Reminds me a
about.
little bit of that, like that kind of like running writing, like and he looks very happy. And that's probably the best Gene Kelly's ever looked in a poster. Like
absolutely,
and it's great. It's simple. You got the Eiffel Tower. You got some people throwing some shades. And it's all done like this like kind of stencil kind of art. Like it's beautiful.
Yeah, But the one thing that's hilarious about this poster is if you zoom in on, there's the text that says, "What a joy to see MGM's Technicolor musical." And you have this little drawing just beneath it, right of the Eiffel Tower in the poster. And if you zoom in on the man and the woman that are like in this kind of stencil drawing, just zoom in on the gentleman in the top hat. And it is the creepiest drawing I've ever seen. If you zoom in on that guy's face.
Holy shit, I just saw it. What were they thinking? What is going on? He looks as though he's got this bruise under his eye. Like, and he's behind this woman's neck as though he's about to like attack her. Like, oh.
Nathan, if that had been on the poster of The Exorcist, it would have made sense.
Jeez. That is creepy. It reminds me a little bit of like the Twits from the Roald Dahl. Like that kind of like,
oh yeah,
that evil
yeah,
grin.
absolutely.
Like, yeah. Maybe Roald Dahl made this poster. Oh no.
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
Nah, wouldn't change.
But
the
I
poster
love this
at all.
poster.
Yeah, perfect.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, title talk.
Ooh, it's the title.
So I'd just like to prove that that there was an American in Paris, because the film itself actually lets us know, it proves it, because the opening line of this movie is this: "This is Paris, and I'm an American who lives here."
Which is the stupidest opening line I think I've ever heard in a movie. And it's funny because
I laughed my ass off. It was great. It was so great.
Also because now, like, what? This is like episode 95. You and I have done title talk for so long now. And like it's now like kind of ingrained. So when I heard that line, I'm like, is this movie deliberately pandering? It's like, I'm like, oh.
Well, it's funny because usually a film will try to work its title in, I guess, like in a smart way. And it never really works. Sometimes it does. But this time, that was so...
Geez.
Like, for the opening line of the film to just reference the title like that was something special.
It's so stupid. Could you imagine, like Harry Potter opening, being like, "I'm Harry Potter, and this is my Philosopher's Stone." You know what I mean?
I'm Harry Potter, and this year, I want to explore a chamber of secrets.
As Daniel Radcliffe, like 12-year-old Dan, is like narrating that. Like, it's stupid in any context. Like, hey, I'm Ash Ketchum, and this is Pokemon, the first movie. like you can do it for any film, and it's stupid no matter what you do it for. Like,
exactly. But hey, I think it's a good title.
I agree.
Like,
actually,
at the same time,
it does exactly what it needs to do. And also thematically, I think actually it says a lot as well about the American, reaching like the artistic Paris. Like. So well done.
Absolutely.
Well done. You bloody nailed at least the title film. So
well done.
Oh, let's pass it, Brenton.
Pass it here.
What?
The power to the people.
So Nathan, interesting when we look at the tomato meter,
Rotten Tomatoes. What are you doing?
Because An American in Paris holds a critical consensus of 95%. It's certified fresh on the tomato meter by the critics, and an audience score of 79%. So,
I mean, so is Shape of Water,
but it's still positive.
Just like Tim Brayton, who liked it, Brenton. He gave it 8.5 out of 10 and wrote, "The first 3 quarters might be at best B-tier Freed unit filmmaking, but those last 18 minutes are as precious as anything produced by studio-era Hollywood." Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That last act is awesome. I think that there's some strong moments, as I've said, in the lead up to that last moment as well. Like I think the weakest part is the opening of this film, but once you get going, it's good. So that's what I think.
There you go.
So Greg Muskowitz from efilmcritic.com gave it a rotten review and says, "The balance, otherwise seen as the song and dance, managed to come along at the most inopportune times and wear out their welcome at an excessively rapid rate." 2 out of 5.
I mean, I don't disagree with him. Like, inopportune times, like, yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, that's a big criticism for the movie, I kind of almost wish it was I wish they did like a Les Mis, like the whole movie was just done and dance, you know what I mean?
Imagine if there was like a film, like if ballet was a genre of film, you know what I mean?
Oh, it'd be
like
great. There probably is, Brenton. Us and our naivety, like...
No, I agree, but I mean like something that was as popular as the movie musical.
Yeah.
And like people just went and watched ballet, but it was done on like in terms of like a real, like it wasn't like on a stage, it was like a realistic like An American in Paris was just like there was no dialogue, there was no vocals, it was just
there
like
was
a dance.
just
and we
dance.
went through the same production design and whatnot, and it was the same story. Like,
I think it would
that'd
work
be interesting to
better
watch.
if almost, yeah. In the same way, I would love to see this musical on stage as opposed to the film. I think it'd be...
Hey, what other films do you think would work as a ballet?
Oh, I mean... I'm really excited for
I think the climax of Avengers Endgame would just be
they fucking, as they're charging at Thanos, like the music cues in, it's like da 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 dun 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 da da dun da 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 dun, and they're all like on their tiptoes, like da 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 dun dun da da, and they're all just like charging at each other. Oh,
I think it could be special.
I've said for years the MCU should adapt Dazzler and do a straight up musical.
Mate, it'd be like, everyone always talks about that episode of, I've never watched Riverdale in my life, but everyone always talks about there's like a musical episode of Riverdale or something.
Oh,
It'd be
yeah.
like that, something that's so random that just pops up, and it's like one of the Avengers films are just like a musical.
It's just done as a musical. No one bats an eye. It's never explained, and it's never done again.
Explained.
But we just get it.
Exactly. And it just ends, and everyone's like, "What the fuck was that?" And Kevin Feige never says anything about it. He's like, "What are you talking about?
What
It's just
musical?
Another. It's just another Avengers movie."
Oh, that'd be amazing. He just like he gaslights the world. he's like, what are you talking about? Oh, that'd be great. TV Guide staff, they liked it, Brenton. They said the plot was showing signs of age far earlier than 1951, but everything else about an American in Paris more than compensates. So they actually say, maybe it does hold up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'd agree. I think
Good
it
on you,
holds up.
TV Guide.
Good on you, TV Guide. Tom R gives it half a star. Holy crap, that's the score I gave Cats.
There we go.
Worst kind of musical.
Both of them.
Yeah. Worst kind of musical. No story. No plot line. Weak characters with a lot of 1930s style vaudevillian dance numbers. Bad in its day, but grows weaker and less relevant with each passing year. A clunker that is wildly overrated. He said Nathan, he said the C word. Clunker.
Oh no, it's a clunker, Brenton. God forbid we review a clunker on this podcast. For some reason when you were reading that, I kind of voiced Palpatine saying those words. I don't know why.
No story. No plot line. Weak characters with a lot of 1930s style vaudevillian dance numbers.
Bad in its day, but it grows weaker with the Jedi. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit like that.
Your friends are yours. Clunkers and are wildly overrated.
I would pay all money to see Ian McDiarmid do Palpatine as a theatre critic, Like, 1 star.
Do it. What? A vaudevillian dance number. Do it.
Mark Hamill's like, okay, have I got her? Liza S. wrote 2.5 stars and said, Gene Kelly wanking off to modern dance again. I mean, is she wrong? Is she wrong, Brenton?
Oh, come on. He's not wanking off.
He's wanking off to modern dance. I tell you what. That's what it says in his grave, funnily enough, as well.
Oh, dear. That's hilarious, Lisa. Oh, my God. Jose Carranza says, I'd rather spend 10 minutes with my mother-in-law than watching this. That's
We have no context for that, but I love it.
Yeah, Jose, that says a lot more about you than the film, I think. But that's okay. That's okay. We're here to support you, my friend.
It's okay, because that was an American in Paris.
It was. What a fun episode, dude. What a great time we had.
You know what I kind of wish, now that I hear that more and more, I kind of wish as an American he was like a Texan or something like that. I feel like he's like a real cowboy American in Paris, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's like,
Absolutely.
Charlene, where's my paintbrush?
He does a cowboy dance move at one stage with the little kids. So he kind of references that, but that's okay. Guys, thank you for joining us on episode 95 of Classic Movie Banter. We love you guys. You're the best audience ever. And it's even better when you guys go to our social platforms and continue the banter there. When you come on and you tell us what you thought about the film.
It's great.
What other films you want us to talk about, let us know. Let's keep this going. Let's chat about an American Paris more. I'm really interested to hear what people have to say.
Yeah.
Furthermore, what really helps us out is if you head on over to our platforms and you give us a little review and you subscribe to us, it really helps us out. We'd really appreciate it if you do that. But aside from that, guys, that's it. That's an episode done and dusted.
All right, Brenton, let's jump on the plane. We're going to Paris, baby.
Oh, yes!
Woohoo! Let's paint.
Woohoo!